Joining us now with more on what can be done to move the country forward is Marc Morial. He's president of the National Urban League and the former mayor of New Orleans. Marc, good morning.
Hi, Anthony. Good to be with you.
Marc, you've run a big city. In a moment like this, the cab driver who brought me in this morning said, "Are we going to have a civil war?" People are upset, obviously. How do you bridge this divide at this point?
This has been a tough week for the nation, particularly for the communities affected by this cycle of violence. Anthony, the people of goodwill, the people who understand that killing police officers is not an appropriate response to the killing of unarmed black men, have to raise their voices, cannot be silent, and cannot be indifferent and stand on the side and be spectators and observers. We need, if you will, the coalition of those who want a just nation, a peaceful nation, and a tolerant nation to raise their voices. In Dallas, there was an interfaith event yesterday. In many communities, I think there's a commitment to peaceful responses, and of course, that's appropriate. We don't want to suppress people's voices. We, I think, want to suggest to people you should speak out, but we should speak out with unity and tolerance, but we should also recognize the underlying challenges, the substantive issues in communities also have to be addressed. This is not just about conversation, it's also about action.
As you point out, though, the sad truth is there is a cyclical feeling to all of this. We heard from the Attorney General saying what you're saying. There need to be concrete steps towards unification. What are the first steps? What are the first things people need to be doing?
I think the first steps that people need to be doing is understand that we can express our political views, our philosophical views, our views on race in rational, reasonable terms. And we've all got to speak out, but we've got to also engage in a little self-checking to ensure that this conversation in this changing America certainly takes place with a level of civility. And I think,
conversely, do you feel like some things need to change on the police department side?
let me tell you, I think at the police level, what we see is in many communities, a broken culture of trust between police and communities. Now, it's important to suggest that you don't condemn every community when it comes to this. There are many communities, even Dallas. The chief in Dallas has worked very hard. Chiefs in places like Camden have worked very hard. In the 90s, when I was mayor, our chief, we worked very hard to de-escalate, to retrain, to build trust between. That has to happen on the local level in each and every community.
How do you do that, though, Marc?
It requires the leadership. Honestly, on this, it's the mayors, it's the police chiefs, it's the business, labor, and religious leaders.
It has to come from the top down.
From the bottom up.
From
the bottom in terms of local government.
Like a little bit of retraining is almost what you're suggesting.
I think it's comprehensive retraining. I think it's a philosophical change. The idea is how do you de-escalate conflict between citizens and police officers? How do you build trust? Everyone wants a safe community. Yes. This is not about saying we should not be, if you will, responsive to acts of criminal behavior, but it is that we need to change this because the root of it and the response we see is about these police incidents. So I just also want to express to the people of Dallas and certainly to the family of the officers, but also to the family of the victims in Minnesota and Baton Rouge, the deepest thoughts, prayers, and sympathies. We've also got to remember that we have grieving families. We have pain, that the community feels pain, but no pain is like the pain of anyone who's lost a loved one.
All right, Marc Morial, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for me. My pleasure.